The producer emailed me back and was like, we love this idea, come in. And then when I was there in person, he said, your pitch really stood out to me because you sent me a video. And again, it just personalizes it. I mean, it makes
Yeah.
it builds that human connection. So I've used it as like a third touch point in a third email. I've also used it to help me close deals. So after I've sent a proposal or a bid or business case to the brand, if I don't hear back, I've used it in that way to kind of push the deal along and just say, hey, you might be having hesitations. I kind of try to figure out maybe what's holding them back. And I try to give them something to like ease that in the
Hmm.
video.
This is your host, Dyutama, but you can call me DJ. And I love to inspire food photographers to dream. I spent 15 years as an architect studying buildings and constructing hospitals before taking the biggest leap of faith of my life, which was setting up a food styling and food photography business right from scratch. If you're a dreamer like me, wanting to start a new photography business or grow your existing food photography business, jump right into a world where I share practical, actionable strategies to improve your photography skills, to work with clients, make more money, all with a fearless mindset. This is the My Food Lens podcast, and we take you one step closer to your dreams. So let's go.
Welcome to part 2 of our conversation with Candice. Now, Candice is a food photographer, blogger. She is a business coach, and she's also founded the Confident Pitch program, which is so fitting because Candice is talking to us all about pitching today and using one strategy that most people are not using in their pitching process. And that is using video in your pitches. Now, you see, how we are always complaining. I didn't get a reply. They said no, this is what they wanted. And we are somewhat, in some way, at a very deep soul level, frustrated with this whole idea of pitching because we feel like we don't get heard, we don't get seen, and we don't get a response. We feel invisible in our pitching process. It drains out so much energy and it takes away so much of our time, and it actually impacts our confidence in a very big way. Whether we understand it or we don't, whether we acknowledge it or we don't, it really impacts our confidence, and it also shakes our confidence in this idea of making food photography a sustainable business. So today, Candice and I are going to talk about the use of videos in your pitches, cold pitches, warm leads, whatever it might be, how to use video pitches, whether it's a trend that's coming up, whether it's a good idea, a bad idea, what are the pros and cons, how has she used video pitches, and how have I used video pitches, and whether they have been successful. So again, just like part 1, I have a feeling you will want to get a notebook and a pen and make some notes as you hear along, because there are things that you will want to try out, you will want to put into place. You will want to see how they work out for you, because, hello, there is no harm that can come out of this. There is nothing bad that will come out from trying a new strategy. The only thing that can happen is either nothing changes or something changes so dramatically that you'll be spoiled for choices. All right. So with that, let's get Candice on and let's talk about videos in our pitching process. We have also spoken so heavily about pitching. And so I kind of want to like switch gears right now. And I want to, just like LinkedIn was this kind of underrated, untapped search engine that we talked about, I want to talk about this untapped pitching technique that I have read so much and heard so much. I have done it. And I'm going to share, it's so interesting. It's nothing related to food photography, but I want to share at some point how my video pitching and what it led me to. But I want to start right at the top with you. And let's just start with why video is a powerful tool for pitching to potential clients. Why do you think it works?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at two things. One, look at where the industry is moving. away from, right? Like okay, look at Instagram. It went from static images to IGTV that came out after. I can't even remember.
Yes,
It was
yes,
like a
yes.
tester with video, and now it's short form video. Okay, one, people's attention span have gone way down. That's
Yeah.
that's the first thing. So the question is, how do we capture their attention, right? Video is obviously the number one way right now, and it's highly effective.
Mm.
Email is still very effective in general. If we look at like as a marketing tool, email is still very effective. But if you look at like a typical buyer journey, the marketing statistic is it takes what, 7 to 8 times of hearing the same message
Yes.
over and over, right? Before it might
Yes.
even be more nowadays, but to hear the same message over and over before they're actually ready to take action or buy or opt into your offer or your freebie or whatever it is. So knowing that, studies have shown that using video in a pitch is 75% more effective. So if you
Mm.
can take email pitching, which is already considered to be more effective than social media, and we can take that one step further and make that even more effective by using video, then I would say, why are we not doing that? And honestly,
Mm.
it's very underutilized. You will stand out way more than somebody who's just sending an email. I try to think of like, how can we capture the brand's attention? And video is one of them, along with like visuals. Like we need to engage them a little bit. And sometimes email isn't the most effective way to do that.
Yeah. The 7 tries can come down to 3 tries. But tell me, like you said
Yeah.
that, people's attention span is coming down. Do you think that videos are better for that? Like, I feel like for somebody to click a video and to go through that video, they might find it a bit more discouraging, versus
Mm-hmm.
just reading through the email and being fine. So, have you seen that videos have a higher open rate or a better response or fewer kind of follow-ups that they need?
Yeah, I haven't used video as a first email, like in a first email. So let me
Mm.
just clarify that. Not to say you can't, I just haven't leveraged it in that way. I leveraged it as like a third email follow-up. So they probably saw my name come through their inbox already. It wasn't super cold. And then when I insert the video into the pitch, I insert like a thumbnail so that they're not just clicking a link that looks like spam or something. They know it's an actual person that created the video.
Yeah.
And I just use a plugin to do that. But I actually did this when I was pitching my local TV station. I wanted to go on to showcase a recipe for the holidays. And I think it was my third email. They were not responding to, I was emailing the producer, by the way, emailing the producer directly, and they weren't replying to me. So I sent them a video pitch and I just said, I'm a real person. Basically, it personifies you, right? Instead of just a
Yes.
random person emailing you, like, I'm a real live person. I'm real. I'm interested in your brand. This is what I see. This is what I want to do for you. And that was basically what my pitch said. I really honestly like just reiterated what I had written in my first initial pitch email. I was like, I'm a real
Mm.
person. Here I am. I also knew it was important for TV to
Mm-hmm.
see, if somebody's going to be on TV, they probably want to see like, how are they
Yes.
in video? How
Yes.
do they speak? So I kind of thought
Yes.
like that would sell them on it as well. But the producer emailed me back and was like, we love this idea, come in. And then when I was there in person, he said, your pitch really stood out to me because you sent me a video. And again, it just personalizes it. I mean, it makes
Yeah.
it builds that human connection. So I've used it as like a third touch point in a third email. I've also used it to help me close deals. So after I've sent a proposal or a bid or business case to the brand, if I don't hear back, I've used it in that way to kind of push the deal along and just say, hey, you might be having hesitations. I kind of try to figure out maybe what's holding them back. And I try to give them something to like ease that in the
Mm.
video. So I'm just like, if you have
Mm.
any questions, if it's a matter of budget, and then I just say, I'm open to getting creative and, altering the deliverable so that we can meet you closer to your budget. Like, but I kind of figure out what that is first. So I leveraged it in that way too.
Mm. I love it because I'm such a huge advocate of taking sensitive conversations off email. Like, don't have those conversations on email. Have them either on a phone call, leave a voice note. Video is like, so I can just totally see how effective it is because it conveys your tone. It conveys that sense of, ease versus reading words. it doesn't put any emotions in it. You are just sterile. It's got absolute, you can read okay, or you can, okay, the same okay can be read in so many ways. And so the moment you say it, your voice is just so powerful. I love it. Also, I feel like it was so appropriate for you to pitch to a TV channel through video. Like it's just so fitting, right? It is fitting. They are visual. It's visual. So that's so much in alignment, I feel. But tell us, Candice, like what would be some of the key elements? Like we really have to make sure that, again, people's attention spans are short. And so what are some key elements that we should be covering in that video so that it's high converting? At the same time, it's not like long drawn and, people are just bored. So what are some, maybe 3 or 4 key elements that a high converting video pitch should have?
Yeah, I mean, again, with a video pitch, it's the same format that I actually use for my emails. And so again, we want to keep it short and to the point, but I do have like a format or a formula that I follow pretty much every time. So the intro is, I always say, the intro is about them, not you. So you could say something like, hey, so-and-so, or if you have a direct person, say their name, of course. I noticed this, like, again, going back to the example of maybe they got a recent award, or maybe they launched a new product. You could say, there's a brand actually on LinkedIn that I saw today that launched a new flavor of their product. And you could say, I saw that you launched this new product. That's really exciting. Congratulations. I imagine that you would need some marketing content to help promote this new product. I've helped brands such as XYZ, put in some brands that you've worked with, increase sales, like giving examples. I've helped brands increase sales of new product launches by creating, and then you could be really specific, like this type of content. You could say, I could use that new flavor in these types of recipes and then create short form video for you. And those recipes could live on your site and help boost SEO and traffic to your site. So just getting really specific about the value of what you offer and how you really envision helping them. But you don't even need to go like deep. I would just try to like capture their attention with maybe 1 or 2 things and then just say, I would really like to connect. If you just have 10, 15 minutes to connect on a call, and we can kind of see how I can best help you guys with this new product, or if you have any other needs, maybe outside of that. So really, I do like an intro statement, which is kind of some way you're trying to connect with the brand. There's lots of different ways that you can connect with the brand, but I'm just giving the example of like, notice they have a new product, or you've noticed maybe they were featured in something. You could just immediately open with that. And then you want to just have a really clear, quick, kind of like your elevator pitch, without it sounding like an elevator pitch, but have some sort of value in there. So something that I see a lot of is people like to write, whether this is in a video pitch or in a written pitch, they like to say what they do. They like to say, I'm a food photographer, I'm a blogger, I am this, but that doesn't resonate with a brand. So I try to explain to people, we need to tell them the benefits of what we do, not what we do. So we could say something like, I am a food photographer that creates high performing marketing content for CPG brands to increase sales, visibility, and, whatever. Like that's just an example, but I try to kind of keep it like really clear and concise about the outcome of what they could expect if they were to hire me or hire somebody that does what I do.
What are the results, the result that they will get by hiring you? Yeah. That's amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
So basically
and then having a call to action.
Absolutely. So basically like a 4-part framework where you are introducing, you have a connection, you tell them what results you get, how you can, contribute, and a call to action. So maybe a 5-part framework. And that's exactly how you would, just like you would just condense your email and turn it into a video. And I can see that there could be some, some mistakes, like to avoid here would be, don't make it too long. Don't go, ooh, ah. And then also, like you said, don't talk about yourself. It's not about you. They need to see how you're going to transform their business, their product, their brand. So they need to just hearing you out for how long do you keep your video pitches? Under a minute?
Oh yeah, under a minute. Keep them short. But another thing that you can test out is just like you don't even have to do your full pitch in the video. You could just use that as a way to make a connection with the brand. Like, I'm a real person. This is how I have helped other brands. I just wanted to reach out to you, put a face to a name. And then you could put the rest of your pitch in the written email. Like, I think that would also be very effective. I think you need to, again, ask yourself, at what stage are you with the brand? Is this like a first email? I haven't really leveraged it as like a first email, which I would love to hear if you've done that. And I would love to try this, because I just don't think anyone, again, I taught a training on this 2 years ago because I was like, it's going to be a thing. And I still don't think anyone's doing it. So
I do think that it's a thing. I love it. Yeah. And I think I'm such a huge advocate of personalizing. I think personalization is going to be key. I think that's going to be what's going to be the trend. It's going to be your currency. It's, customization and personalization, especially because of AI. Yeah. Everyone wants that humane touch. Everyone wants to know you're a real person. And I feel everyone's going to be short on time. So being able to read a pitch that is versus looking at a video which is under 1 minute and going snap, okay, I connect. That also means that we need to be very diligent in making sure that we are saying the right thing strategically and, very, very efficiently. I feel like it's definitely something. And the first thing you said about video pitching was that it differentiates you in the market. And I think that is so important, because there's always going to be someone who's going to do the job cheaper. There's always going to be someone who's going to offer a different rate. And there's always going to be this thing. So how are you giving a snapshot of, you as an authority, as the high value, as the service, the quality of service that you're bringing in under 1 minute? And that's through that, even before they are on the discovery call, they know you. And what's the harm in trying? Come on now, even if it's not a thing, there's no harm. Only something good can come out of it. So I'm going to share my story here, which has nothing to do with food photography. I'm so proud of it. A few years ago, it was my husband's 40th birthday, and I was really looking at doing something very special for him. My husband is this old soul, he was turning 40, but he was actually 70 in his head. And he's like this huge fan of Simon Sinek and Adam Grant. And, his bedside is like a pile of books that he reads every night. And I was like, I need to make this so special for him, because he recently took a huge risk in his career, and he took big leaps, and he was shaking up the industry, and he was doing things that were very scary. And all these people were kind of, his inspiration, and they were giving him a lot of motivation. I was like, what can I do? So I created 2 video pitches for Simon Sinek and Adam Grant. And I was like, I am going to request them to send my husband a happy 40th birthday message. And I was like, okay, so pitching is, I'm so passionate about it. But at the same time, I was like, okay, I'm not just going to send an email. And this was the first one. So it wasn't like I'd warmed up or I'd found the right contact. Nothing. I literally was sitting on my desk, and I was like, I need one of them to send him a message. It's going to be a deal breaker for him at this point in life. And so I recorded 2 video pitches, and they were completely customized, both under 1 minute, edited for sound, clarity, color, everything in Canva, done. And I sent it to Simon Sinek, and I sent it to Adam Grant, and they both replied to me. I got a reply from both of them. Simon Sinek, of course, had a different reply, and he was like, I'm a bit busy. Sorry, this won't be possible, but, maybe at another time, I'm traveling, blah, blah, blah. Adam Grant, on the other hand, was like, this is amazing. I love it, Dyutama. Give me 2 days, and I'm going to get back to you. And he sent a voice note for my husband. And he said, I don't do videos, but I will send a voice note. And not only that, after that, he and I were emailing each other, and he's sending me smileys. He's saying, I love this. This is so great. I wish your husband all the best. And I was like, if I had not sent that video, I would have just come across as yet another email that is going out. But when I sent that video pitch, it was, again, nothing about me. It was about how my husband has taken this leap. And if you know Adam Grant, he's all about success in your career and your business. And, that's who he stands for. And he's like this world figure, right? And the moment he heard how he has inspired, and all his books that my husband has been reading, and everything, that connection was so strong, he couldn't help it. and I
Yeah.
got that message. So for me, I think that's like my success story with video pitching. And if I have ever received a video pitch or a video message from someone, I never forget it. So if you
Yeah.
want to be memorable, that is key. So I'm all in with you on this topic, Candice. I feel like this is going to be a differentiator. It's going to be a trend. It's going to be what sets you apart. It's going to probably, less people doing it means more chances for you. So that was my story, a huge advocate for video pitching. Now, I do want to step into our last segment for this recording, Candice, and that is, you come from this whole world of sales, and we as content creators don't care about sales. We don't want to hear this word. We're averse to anything that is so. But tell us, what is the sales process for a food photographer? What is the sales process? Like if someone's using these big words, what does it really mean in the most simplest and basic way? So that was part 2 of our conversation with Candice, and it was all about using videos in your pitching. How do you feel about it? What do you think? Do you think this is something you would like to try, or is it something like you're just feeling like, oh my God, this is so much more work? Well, if there is one thing that I would say is that the effort that you will put in, maybe tidying up your hair, cleaning up your face, and just recording a 50-second video might just turn into a client that stays with you for the next 5 years. It is a strategy. It is a technique that cannot be wrong, cannot go wrong. I feel like everybody is so visual. Everybody wants to connect to a human, especially in this age of AI and everything that feels so mechanical. Everybody, just fighting over the budget or the timeline and having objections. I feel like just having a video in your pitch could actually clear objections even before you get on a discovery call with a client. There is never any harm in trying out and seeing how people respond, whether it works for you, how it aligns with your processes. And maybe this is the missing piece of the puzzle in your pitches. And suddenly you just start seeing replies pouring in. Maybe they don't. Maybe things stay the same. But there is absolutely no harm in trying. And I feel like the more you try, the more you'll understand and the more better equipped that you will become in handling pitches, sensitive pitches, and just, these situations that we kind of run away from. So I hope that you made some notes. And if you do have any questions, please shoot me an email on hello@myfoodlens.com or send me a DM on Instagram at Dyutama_myfoodlens. By the way, I hope you enjoyed my Adam Grant story. He is awesome, and I'm such a huge fan. If there are any Adam Grant fans here, send me a note and tell me that you are a fan too. All right, with that, I'll see you next week with another episode. Until then, bye-bye.